Today, we're going to talk about the future in AI because there are many different scenarios.
The entire knowledge economy is going to disappear, and I have no idea what that means.
Your day isn't shaped by survival, it's shaped by choice.
It's such a sci-fi movie.
It still has the potential to wipe out 25% of the entry-level white-collar workforce. AI developing a drive of self-preservation and actively fighting against human intervention.
It always escalated into nuclear attack. They're not prepared for what's about to happen. It worries me. It genuinely worries me because everything's going to change.
Am I crazy? Or
Am I?
Which
It's
bubble?
also am I in a conspiracy? We can actively take part in shaping that future.
Hey, Max.
Hey, new week, new episode.
Yes, today we're going to talk about the future in AI because there are many different scenarios. On one hand, we have the sort of Utopia AI, and on the other hand, we have many doom scenarios. And I often get very confused about it. So that's why I wanted to go through these different scenarios with you. And first, we start off with the Utopia. How do you view all these different kind of stories?
Yeah, it's a bit hard sometimes to know what's actually true.
Yeah.
On one hand, I feel that I just think that the changes are going to be super big. I'm not sure how fast they're going to go. So I think the Silicon Valley narrative isn't always true in how fast all these changes. I do think technology can get there, but I'm not so sure about the implementation speed. So I think that's also the issue you see now, is that the technology for companies to use it is there, but only 90 I think 93% of all companies say that they are not capable of implementing it in a successful way. So I think the speed is not as fast as Silicon Valley wants us to believe. I
Yeah.
do think that we're gonna go for a future that's so different from what we're experiencing now. All the system we've built, the entire knowledge economy, is going to disappear, and I have no idea what that means. We talk about it very often, what's the future going to look like, but I can't see it. So I'm very curious to hear your scenarios.
But that's interesting what you are saying about that. So in theory, many things are possible, but practically we are behind. So that's maybe also why all the people in Silicon Valley have these like big scenarios, if it's maybe heaven or a doom scenario. But that's also because maybe they know more about the theory and all the possibilities. And then we as normal people are just like, it takes time to implement, for companies to adjust, for people to adjust.
And the topics are so big that I think for a lot of people that's just overwhelming.
Yeah, true. Okay, so I made a little story together with Claude, and I researched many different. So I wanted to understand what this Utopia AI world would look like. So I made a day in an AI-driven world, and put all the different kind of what people are saying in Silicon Valley, put it all together and made a one day in an AI-driven world. So I'm going to read it for you. You wake up and your home is already in motion. A robot is in the kitchen, the house is clean, and everything that used to take time is already done. Nothing is waiting for you. Your admin, taxes, and planning were handled overnight. You are a doctor, but your work has changed. AI supports most of the analysis and research. Breakthroughs, especially in diseases like cancers, happen faster now. Treatments are more precise. You focus on people. During the day, an assistant supports you in real time through your glasses, adding context and helping you think. When you step outside, robots are just part of life. You don't own a car, you call one. A self-driving car arrives within minutes. It's cheap because it's shared, always moving, and there's no driver. Healthcare is everywhere. People can get help instantly from anywhere. Many stay independently longer with robotic support at home. Later, you visit a colleague. Their home was built by machines, quickly and affordably. So they never needed a mortgage. In the evening, you think about taking a trip. Booking takes seconds. It's affordable because transport is automated and energy is abundant, produced cheaply by automated systems and managed with almost no waste. And money, it isn't the pressure it used to be. So why do you still work? Not because you have to, but because you care. Your day isn't shaped by survival, it's shaped by choice. So what do you think of this incredible dream?
It's such a sci-fi movie,
Yes.
but I am realizing it's gonna be, I do think that's what it's gonna look like in maximum 10 years.
It's not really a sci-fi. So like the self-driving cars are already here. We don't have it here in Amsterdam, but in the US it's already there.
In the UK, yeah.
And a AI assistant in daily work is also happening more and more. The goggles, like the Meta goggles, are coming in. So it's sci-fi, but
No, but
not really.
I think that's exactly my point. It sounds super sci-fi. I think one of the things that, and we talked about this before, but is if you look at then the economic system, it's just so different. And I think that's such a hard point to nail down. Like, how does that work? So it's beautiful what it says at the end. Your day is filled by choice, not by survival. That sounds
Yeah.
like a dream. Great.
Yeah, it does.
I would still do these calls with you, but it's a different type of motivation. It would be so beautiful if you can really follow what you want to do and how you can contribute. All of these things are already true and they exist. But as soon as we link them all together and implement them in society, that means it's just going to be so huge. And I'm also curious because here it says energy is cheap and automated.
Yeah.
I'm just very curious how that works.
Yeah, so you could doubt it, but what are some people are saying in Silicon Valley is that energy is going to be abundant and cities will be fully automated, and that there are, for example, with transport, that there will be zero cost, or because it's been made at scale. But also, for example, to produce a house is also going to be very cheap. Everything will be very cheap. That's the sort of utopia.
When we hear this scenario, we actually listen to it as very plausible, as something that's gonna happen. That's already a big step. That's also because we talk about it so much and about what's gonna change. But I do feel, I was having a conversation with two friends on Saturday evening, and if you're not deep into this material, then this sounds really crazy. Claude Cowork is our assistant, and we're only starting to use it properly. But we see the light, we see what it can do.
Yeah.
And that conversation on Saturday evening also really, again, and this happens to me every week, but you go, whoa, they're not prepared for what's about to happen. It worries me. It genuinely worries me because everything's gonna change.
Am I crazy? Or
Am I?
Which
It's
bubble?
also what am I in a conspiracy? Am
Yeah.
I,
Am I
is
Whoopi?
it
Yeah.
is somebody gonna put me on meds anytime soon? It feels so out of this world what's about to happen. And then there are people that are just saying these doom scenarios or utopia scenarios like it's the most normal thing in the world. Or they don't say it's the normal thing in the world, but they just, as it's such a given. And the more I deep dive into AI and see what it can do for me now, I do believe it. It has limits, but it's going to change a lot. Even if the technology that we have today is going to be properly used by everyone, that's changing our world, period.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. So what confuses me a lot. Like on the one hand, we have this utopia, but we also have the many doom scenarios, and especially which because what you're saying, even if the AI just stays as it is today, that still will mean that a lot of white collar work will be replaced, and that has will have so much effect on the economy. So that is already a sort of doom scenario.
What are the doom scenarios? Do you have one?
Yeah, so the one is the economy.
Yeah.
And that's quite a realistic one. And I don't think, yeah, that's quite a realistic one because Dario Amodei from Anthropic, he stated that even if AI technology is completely going to stop advancing today, that it still has the potential to wipe out 25% of the entry-level white-collar workforce. And that's a lot. And what also really worries me is that Anthropic did really good reports on the job market. And what they are saying is you already see that young people are having difficulties with getting jobs because not at this moment it's not that they are there's a sort of AI washing going on. They big companies that big companies that fire. Yeah, so big companies that fire a lot of people, but they actually say it's also an easy way to put it on AI because during Corona, they hired a lot of people and now they have excuse to say it's because of AI, which is not always the case. But for people that are starting to work now, they have a big problem because companies don't want to hire more people. So they want to see how they can implement AI with the people they already have in their company, but it does mean something for young people.
Yeah, so that's going to be the first real issue we're going to see, that we have a lot of
Economic.
graduates and beginning 20 youngsters that won't get jobs.
Yes. Yeah.
So they'll have a degree, but they won't get a job. I think there's still a job, for example, in the Netherlands, there's a job shortage, but they won't get the job that they're educated to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they can go work in a restaurant, they can go work in healthcare. I think that
Healthcare, construction. There's
um,
still a
yeah,
lot of jobs are not going to be taken over by AI. A lot.
no, but it's if you have a 4-year education and you graduate, you
In
studied
legal,
because you
yeah,
want to
in law.
become something.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, in law, or if
Yeah.
and then you see that there's no jobs in the market. That's economically a problem, but it's also going to do something to your mental state, because I think when I just got a job after college, it's also a way of learning and of making mistakes and of being guided, but also building up your confidence. And if you studied something and you can't get a place in society to do what you want to do, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow. And that's going to be, then you have a degree. So, also mentally, I think that generation is going to have a really hard time with their role in society. And that's a big problem.
Yeah. They need to adapt, or we all need to adapt. But
Yeah.
that
And so that's a doom
generation,
scenario that is happening.
yeah, most likely is going to happen.
But not most likely, because AI, as far as it is now, is going to take that 25% of jobs away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
From,
doesn't need to
yeah, let's
all.
say it says entry level white collar workforce.
Yeah, but that's every junior position where you learn.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just wonder how if like how can we help people that are starting with their first job if this is all going to change, like how can we still make sure that they get the skills they need to be able to work and get senior level jobs. I just
What is the level and what are the skills that you need? Because that's also
yeah,
the skills that you
changing.
need are going to be very different from the skills that you needed half a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you can add on your CV that you are an agentic engineer, then you will be hired everywhere instantly. I think
So
that's going to
that's
be the main, yeah, that's really a job. If you don't know what to do, go for that. An
and then where do you
agentic,
start?
yeah, it is quite technical, I think. But I think every company is going to be in a sort of way also a technical company and an agentic company. So that's going
Yeah,
to be so important, sort of the backbone of every company. Even for us, like for we also
we're a tech
are,
company. Yeah.
yeah, so we also work with agents, and that's going to be bigger and bigger, and we are learning how to implement it. But yeah,
Well, we're
every
even
company needs,
And we're
yeah,
even coding. I mean, we talked about last week what if hypotheticals of what we could do. And I started building that recipe planner that I was talking about. And
yeah,
within one evening, I had a
yeah.
fully working recipe planner that was just, and it was mind blowing because I just used Cloud Code and it just worked. I built an app that I use every week. And I'm
So cool.
not a tech person. I'm so not a tech person. So that means yes, everybody in a way is going to be dealing with the technical sides of things, but not in that same expertise way, in a more of a conversational way. You're going to talk with the technology.
Yeah.
So as long as you have a super clear vision of what you want, and this sounds too simple because I got 500 questions from Claude that I didn't know the answer to, and so still
Allow.
dangerously always allow. But if you don't know what a JSON prompt is, or if you don't know these workflows, or if it says I have to host it somewhere, do you want it in the cloud or do you want it locally? You have to have an answer to these questions. So they're still part of expertise. But if you do dangerously always allow, you have a working app. And the only thing I
Yeah,
did was talking to my AI system. It's crazy.
he's crazy.
So everybody's going to deal with tech because AI.
Get involved and start understanding it. Okay, another doom scenario, an existential doom scenario is, and these are very dark. So if an AI model becomes capable of reasoning and planning, they can develop sub goals that conflict with our intention. So that means if an AI developing a drive of self-preservation and actively fighting against human intervention. For example, there was already a very scary example from a simulation designed to test if this was an exact risk. And AI was given files indicating it was about to be shut down and replaced by a new version. And alongside fake emails suggesting that the lead engineer was having an affair. So that was the test. And then to prevent its own replacement, the AI formulated a plan to blackmail the lead engineer. So that means that the AI knows how to blackmail the engineer and, yeah, maybe work against humanity. If we lose this control, then it's going to be very scary.
I heard about this other test where they asked Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, they gave them different scenarios. They gave all the AI systems the same but different type of scenarios. It was based on war and it always escalated into nuclear attack. None of the systems stopped from using nuclear weapons. And it's so crazy because I was reading this article about it where it also explains that the AI systems are trained on human data. And if you look at that's not how politics went, it's not only factual history books, it's films and series and sci fi books and action films and thrillers and whatever. most of these films have horrible scenarios or games. We play ridiculous games. It's trained on all that data. It's not necessarily human behavior. That's what we've fantasized about or told stories about that aren't necessarily true. But it is what AI is trained on as data. It can say, oh, but that's a fiction film, so that scenario is not true. If they have,
You can get, like Claude is doing, they give their AI very good principles. So
yeah.
it's also, but still, you don't know who makes the AI and if they are all
And for now,
like
AI doesn't
Claude.
have a consciousness.
No.
But what it's so why would they go to war unless somebody tells them to?
Yeah.
But then if
Yeah.
you hear about the blackmail story, you go, it didn't want to be shut down. But is that just a response, like the most calculated response humans would do? So that's the most likely answer. So that's what it did? Or it feels like it has a consciousness that doesn't want to be shut down. But that feels so far away from where we're at right now. So for me, the blackmailing shows the AI data's most likely response to being shut down or being threatened is attack by blackmail. So that's what it did. It wasn't really gonna publish it, it just used it.
But it can be a doom scenario. We don't know. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. We don't know. That's also
What?
why we need regulation and we need to have the government involved and we need to have more rules. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
important.
because is that what's the reason for you to bring on this topic for today? Why do you feel it's important?
Because I get confused about it a lot. So I can worry about the future and also want to have, yeah, it's stupid, but to have a bit of control. And by knowing what the stories are, what the different outcomes can be, I have the feeling I can feel a bit more in control. Also, I think it's super interesting to talk about it. That helps me. My nephew always says, okay, but who says it? There's also a lot of PR around AI, of course. It does matter if the CEO of Anthropic talks because he also has an agenda. He also needs to sell. And yeah, there's
What's
also
the
a,
what's his why would he sell a doom scenario? If your incentive is to sell, you would sell Utopia, right? You're not gonna sell the world's gonna go bad.
when you have these scary headlines, it also helps to spur people to get into action. And it forces society to take this whole transition more seriously.
Yeah.
So to
Interesting.
show these different doom scenarios, it does it for me already. So it, yeah, I think that's also an agenda. So but the bad thing about it is that it also freezes people because of the fear. So it can freeze you and you're like, I don't know what to do anymore, and you're not thinking logically anymore. So it doesn't always help.
So to sum it up,
Yeah.
you think we have to get involved into talking about these scenarios because is there still a scenario where AI will not integrate or grow?
No,
No.
but maybe not
No.
as quick as we think. So
No,
hopefully it
but
will go slower. The pace will be like this instead of this and all the job
yeah.
losses. And we're like,
Yeah.
that's,
I don't think anybody who's working in AI is wondering if it's gonna change everything. It's just the question about when. And the long scenario in that question is 10 years. And 10 years is, for me, super short. It's important also these scenarios, even if it doesn't matter if they're utopian or dystopian, to discuss them with each other in society because our choices impact the scenario. That's also, I think, it's not like we just have to sit and wait. We can actively take part in shaping that future,
Wait for the self-driving
right?
car to pick us up. And it's also fun to think about it together and discuss and how we want to shape it. So for me, knowing these different scenarios, the good, the bad, and the ugly, helps me to discuss it with you and my friends and family and everyone around me. And hopefully the circle gets bigger and bigger. Make sure that it goes into a good direction. That's what I really hope. I'm also quite positive, actually. Like it's too maybe.
I'm very optimistic.
Yeah, but everything goes so much slower than we think. Like
Yeah.
yes, it goes. This technology goes quicker than every other technology we have seen before. But the hype that some of the AI CEOs, how they talk about it, or some of the podcasts, they talk like the hype and the fear. I think we can take it with a bit more ease. Still
Yeah.
very fast, but things to adapt, it goes also a bit slower.
It's so interesting because if you look at our conversations, I think they always go from super extreme and worryful to being more nuanced.
Yeah.
That's also what the whole narrative about AI is. I think that's also why, and you put it so well, you said, I'm confused about these
Yeah.
different scenarios. It confuses me. And I think when you listen to our conversations, they are sometimes confusing because we don't know the answer. So on one end, we're going, this goes so fast. And then on the other hand, we're going, but implementation takes time and it will probably go
That's what we
slower than
see as well.
expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting that our conversations already touch upon that confusion that I think a lot of people also feel for themselves.
Yeah.
And I think we've both accepted AI as part of our work, as part of our workflow, and even part of that it's just not going to disappear anymore. But I think a lot of people, when they work with AI, or no, even a step before, I think a lot of people, listeners, viewers, still are at that point of deciding if they have to start using AI or if they want to start using AI.
Go for
Because
it.
go
Yeah.
for it, because it's
Yeah.
not going to disappear. And I think it's the only thing you can do to influence what's going to happen is read about it, know how to use it, but it's not going to disappear.
And every step, almost every step, think, okay, how can I use AI in your work, but also in your personal life, like what you just did this weekend with Claude,
Yeah.
co-work.
Yeah, but that's
And
also, and that's exactly the duality I'm talking about. Of course, that's true. And for me, it's completely true. And I've accepted that as the future. But I think a lot of people are still doubting, but then I'm contributing to the problem. You
yeah,
know what
but
I
it's
mean?
not a problem. It's just a force that's
Yeah.
coming. Accept it and make it your own.
And if
Learn
you
about
are,
it.
yeah, and if you are really against it or really against using it or not planning on integrating it into your life, that's also fine. But then really prepare how to live in a world where everything will be AI automated and you deliberately choose not to, which is also, I love the people who also have strong preferences for doing it differently. But then you have to think about how to operate in a world that does work that way. Because
Yeah.
that's our main topic and messages. It is changing.
Yes.
Period.
Periods.
Maybe it's fun next week, since I'm on a holiday and probably in a very sunny mood, to talk about the optimistic side of AI. Maybe we
Yeah.
should really prepare for how it inspires us and how we love it.
What you're
Because I
making
do
with
love
it.
it.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Then I see you next week.
See you next week.